Hi, friends.
Oh,
Shabbat Shalom. We are so thrilled that you are here with us. Hopefully you can hear me. Excellent. All right. Yay, Shabbat Shalom. And welcome to Congregation Etz Chaim Shabbat services. This is a very special evening tonight. We have many wonderful things to share with you. The first of which is before we begin our Shabbat services, I want to welcome my Elmhurst University students who are all here on the Zoom with me tonight. I gave them the opportunity to come to services for Shabbat, to celebrate and have a little bit of our community joy. If they came to services, they wouldn't have to take a formal final exam. They still could take a formal exam if they chose to, but if they came to services, they wouldn't have to. That is why you see such a large Zoom room with people you might not know, but those are all my students, and what a wonderful class we've had this J term. So we're thrilled you're here. Welcome, Elmhurst University students. The second announcement I'd like to make before Shabbat services begins is we have the blessing of having our very own song leader, Leah Sherin, joining us from Boston. That's one of the advantages, if you can have an advantage during the COVID era. It's that we have wonderful song leading. Leah was just this past week accepted as a rabbinical student to Hebrew Union College, and we are so thrilled that Leah is going to go off and become a rabbi. So, mazel tov to you, Leah. Thank you for being with us this Shabbat to grace us with your beautiful music and song, and we're just happy you're here. We come now to Shabbat, our time of joy, of rest, and of peace. And we come to the sanctuary during this wonderful month of Shvat. We are in the second week of the Hebrew month of Shvat, and that means that Tu B'Shvat is going to take place this week. Tu B'Shvat is the festival of the New Year of the trees. So we're going to have a little tree-themed Tu B'Shvat Shabbat tonight, and we're just happy that you are with us in our communal sanctuary, in our Zoom room, or on the stream. And so we begin our Shabbat with the singing of Ya'aloz Sadai.
Thank you, Rabbi Koznowski. So we are celebrating Tu B'Shvat. This song comes from our Kabbalat Shabbat liturgy, but it also is all about all the trees of the forest rejoicing. So hopefully it can kind of get us in the spirit. It goes like this. Ya'aloz Sadai v'chol asher bo Ya'aloz Sadai. Ay, 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 Ya'aloz Sadai v'chol asher bo Ya'aloz Sadai. Ay, 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 ay. Az Yeranenu kol atei Ya'ar. 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 Ya'aloz Sadai v'chol asher bo Ya'aloz Sadai. Ay, 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 Ya'aloz Sadai v'chol asher bo Ya'aloz Sadai. Ay, 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 ay.
It is my pleasure to invite to our ceremonial bima to sanctify our Shabbat candles, Cynthia Mark Hummel.
Okay, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Amen.
Amen.
We continue now with our Ma'ariv service as I invite the congregation to please rise in either body or spirit for the Baruch Hu. Everyone may be seated as we continue with the Ma'ariv Aravim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro Ma'ariv Aravim, bechochma poteach sha'arim, uvidbuna mishaneh itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umsader et hakochavim, b'mishmeretem barakia kirtzono, borei yom v'layla golel or mibnei choshech, bechoshech mibnei or. Uma'avir yom u'mevi laila, uma'avdil bein yom u'bein laila, Adonai tzeva'ot shemo, El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariv aravim.
We continue with the Shema. The Shema is the declaration or the watchword of our faith, not quite a prayer, but more of a declaration. It is found in Deuteronomy 6:4, and for monotheist Jews all over the world, this is the prayer that unites us, the prayer that we say on our deathbed, the prayer that is said on our behalf. It is for in Judaism that we believe in one God, and God is one. So please rise for the Shema. please be seated. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha vishinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam Bishivtecha beveitecha, uvelechtecha vaderech, uvshochbecha uvkumecha, ukshartam leot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot bein einecha, uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha, leman tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai. Vitem kedoshim lelohechem, Ani Adonai Elohechem, Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, lihiot lachem lelohim, Ani Adonai Elohechem.
Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, hapores sukat shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. We continue now with the Yismechu, a prayer that is only done on Shabbat as we celebrate the joy that we are now in Shabbat.
We come now to our congregational tefillah, and I ask everyone who is able to do so at this time to please rise.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava. Melech Ozer Umoshia Umagen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Bezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye Metim Atah Rav Lehoshia, Mashiv Haruach Umorid Hagashem, Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechaye Metim Berachamim Rabim. Somech noflim berofeh cholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato lishenei afar, micha mocha bal gevurot, umido melach, melech memit umechaye, umatzmiach Yeshua. V'ne'emar atah lahachayot metim, Baruch atah Adonai mechayeh hametim.
Ata kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, ukdoshim b'chol yom yahalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh. Will the congregation please be seated? Now, Rabbi Kamil, I told you that I wanted you to put in our PowerPoint presentation, "You are with us in our doubt and our despair." And you did, and I'm so grateful that you did that. But now I can't find it in my prayer book, so it's one of those moments of, oh gosh, I'm just going to read something else. I have it on my phone, but I'm just going to read a different prayer, because sometimes opportunity, it's what it creates. Here it is. Listen to this reading. May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love and all who are lonely for friendship. May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, and hopes to nurture. May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity. May its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet. May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness. And may this synagogue be, for all who enter, the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life. See, wasn't that a great reading? Sometimes it just creates great opportunity. We continue with the singing of Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam.
We continue with a moment of silent meditation, followed by Oseh Shalom, blessing all of us with Shabbat peace.
We come now to Seder Kriyat HaTorah, the service for reading the Torah. As I invite everyone to please rise in either body or spirit as we continue with Al Shlosha Devarim and retrieve the Torah from the Ark.
Al Shlosha Devarim. Al Shlosha Devarim Ha'olam Omed. Al Shlosha Devarim Ha'olam Omed. Al HaTorah ve'al Ha'avodah ve'al Gemilut Chasadim. Al HaTorah ve'al Ha'avodah ve'al Gemilut Chasadim. Al Shlosha Devarim. Al Shlosha Devarim Ha'olam Omed. Al Shlosha Devarim Ha'olam Omed.
Everyone may be seated. Our Torah portion this week is Bo, the third Torah portion in our book of Exodus, and the final 3 plagues that are brought on Egypt by God when the Israelites were trying to make their mass exodus. An interesting thing about this Torah portion, in fact, something that's very troubling for us readers, is that when Pharaoh is mentioned in this portion, and Pharaoh almost wants to let the Israelites go after each of these plagues, but it says God hardens Pharaoh's heart. Now we need to ask ourselves as readers, and they even asked themselves as readers 2,000 years ago when the rabbis were discussing this, does that mean Pharaoh was actually free of his free will if God was hardening his heart? Well, there are a lot of interpretations on that, but one that I've always liked is that if you look a close reading in the text, the first 5 plagues shows that Pharaoh hardens his own heart. And then after that, God hardens his heart for the next 5 plagues. And perhaps from that, we can take the lesson that when we do things that perhaps we know are bad, if we do them often enough, getting out of that pattern can be something which is very difficult. Our Aliyah, so our Torah portion this week is Bo. We are going to be reading in Exodus chapter 10, verses 1 through 3, and it is my pleasure to call up our Aliyah. Ya'amod Reuben ben Herschel la Aliyah HaTorah. Oh, Rick, you are still on mute.
Baruch et Adonai Hamborach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Vahed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach L'olam Vayed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bakar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Vayomer Adonai El Moshe Bo El Paro Ki Hani Hikbati Et Libo V'et Lev Avadav Leman Shiti Otatai Ele Bikribo Uma'an Tesaper Ve'oznei Bincha Uven Bincha Et asher hit'alalti b'Mitzrayim v'et otatai asher shamti avaham v'datem ki ani Adonai v'yavo Moshe v'Aaron el Paro v'yamer v'yamru elav ko amar Adonai Elohei Ivrim Al Matai Manta Le'anot Mipana Shalach Ami Vayavduni.
Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Natan Lanu Torat Amet Yanaye Olam Nata Botokenu Baruch Ata Adonai Notena HaTorah.
Amen. Our thoughts now turn to those of our community and families who are ill and in need of healing. We think this evening of Jill Avant, Elwood Frederick Bryan, Rick Westerman, Karen Levinson, Laura Alberton, Mark Zellman, Sarah Varad Bat Shoshana, Richard Hoffman, Evan Georgie Johnston, Kathleen Minardi, Margie Sufi, Sheila Alterman, Sharon Gutsky, Ronnie Brown, Carol Neymark, Larry Neymark, Daniel Bongino, Kathleen Archambault, Rabbi Ellen Dreyfus, Jay Field, Stefano Michalasi, Denise Blackburn, Jay Bernstein, Larry Levine, Sophie Pollack, Isaac Duhan, Len Schutzman, Steve Titiner, Stephen Hooper, Rob Dicker, and all who suffer whom we know not by name. Misheberach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yakov, v'imotenu Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah, hu yivarech v'yirpet chol holei Yisrael v'yishlach them b'meirah, refuah shlema, refuah nefesh, refuah aguf, v'nomar Amen. May God, who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal all who are stricken. May the Holy One of Praise mercifully restore them to health and to vigor. May God grant them health of body, health of spirit, and of mind. And let us say, Amen.
May the source of strength, who bless
is now time to return our Torah to the Ark as I invite everyone to please rise in either body or spirits.
V'zot haTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei b'nei Yisrael pi Adonai b'yad Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Ki mitzion tetzei Torah uvar Adonai miYerushalayim. Ki mitzion tetzei Torah uvar Adonai miYerushalayim. Baruch shenatan Torah le'amo, Torah le'amo Yisrael. Baruch shenatan Torah le'amo Yisrael b'kedushato. Ki mitzion tetzei Torah uvar Adonai miYerushalayim. Mitzion, tetzei Torah, uvar Adonai miYerushalayim.
Well, everyone may be seated. And in a moment, it will be my pleasure to invite up some people for some prayers. But I just wanted to mention that all of our honors here tonight were honors from our environmental committee, people who are working very hard to make it so that we can keep on enjoying Tu B'Shvat, holidays, New Year's for the trees for many, many years to come. Hopefully, many, many eons, of course, of years. And it is my pleasure to invite up to read our prayer for America, Dick Johnson. Oh, Dick, you are on mute. There you go. You are good now.
Okay.
Okay.
O guardian of life and liberty, may our nation always merit your protection. Teach us to give thanks for what we have by sharing with those who are in need. Help us appreciate one another and to respect the many ways we serve you. Bless our country that it may always be a stronghold of peace and its advocate amongst the nations. May contentment reign within its borders, health and happiness within its homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship amongst the inhabitants of all lands, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. We praise you, O God, the source of peace. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. And now to read our prayer for Israel, Marianne Mintz.
Okay. O Heavenly One, Protector and Redeemer. Oh boy, wait a minute. It cut it off. Let me get the other version. Okay. O Heavenly One, Protector and Redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love, spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. And now finally for a prayer for the environment, Mary Hasten.
Master of the universe, in whose hand is the breath of life and soul of every person, grant us the gift of Shabbat, a day of rest from all our labors. With all of our senses, many may we perceive the glory of your works. Fill us with your goodness, that we may attest to your deeds. Strengthen us to become your faithful partners, preserving the world for the sake of future generations. May it be your will, Adonai, our God, and the God of our ancestors, to bestow your blessings for the world in our day, as you have done from the beginning of time.
Amen. Thank you so much.
Amen.
We continue now with a little sermon, a little teaching. We are so blessed to have you of the Environment Committee here to grace us to do our honors. Thank you for being here. And thank you once again to our Elmhurst University students. Hopefully you are learning a little about how we do our services. And tonight you get to learn a little about how we do Tu B'Shvat. You see, Tu B'Shvat is the celebration of the New Year of the Trees. And so we plant trees in Israel because it's too cold and frozen here in Chicago to plant trees, and they would all die. So we would just prefer to send $18 to the JNF and plant trees that way. But trees are intrinsically part of our world. As Rabbi Kamil mentioned, that we plant trees today, and eons from now, those trees will be here. I was driving a couple of days ago, and shockingly, I was complaining a little bit about how tired I am, that winter just makes me tired, and I just don't have my get up and go. It's more, I just have like no pep to my step. And Jane pointed to a barren tree, a tree that had no leaves on it, and she said, look at that tree. It's barren. It's not dead. It just has no leaves on it because it's not time to have leaves. You see, it's husbanding all of its energy and resources because in a few short weeks, it's going to burst forth into spring, into bloom. And so, we, in this month of Shvat, recognize that in Israel, nature begins to awaken and winter starts to lose her grip. Here in Chicago, we're in the grips of winter, that's true. But we have the promise of the end of the terrible darkness, not only of daylight savings time, but of COVID. And so we start to think about what it's going to be like when we will begin to come out of our homes once again and bring to fruition all the thoughts and dreams and lessons that we have had in the past months. If anyone cares to come to the strategic plan unfurling on Tuesday night, you can hear more about the thinking behind the strategic plan and the opening plan that we are hoping to be able to do in the next few months. But as we are in Shvat, the month of Shvat, Tu B'Shvat, the birthday of the trees, draws near, the moon grows fuller, and we can have some gratitude for these wonderful trees from God, from the seedlings that we plant every year to the trees that have witnessed thousands of years of history. We tune into the magnitude of trees' life-giving force. From the tree of life in the Garden of Eden to the trees standing outside of our door, we can look at the trees and know that the leaves will return soon enough. You see, we're partners with the trees. We give them life through exhaling, and they give us life and air as we inhale. They parallel our lives in the most remarkable way. When we're young, the sun is at our backs, and we grow into beautiful creatures, and the summer comes, and our fullness gives shade and fruit and strength to our lives. And as we progress through fall, we start to lose some of our pep, and we prepare for the winter in our lives. And each year, each generation brings the cycle to life once again. The Talmud tells the story of Honi, the circle maker, which is like the Jewish version of Rip Van Winkle. Honi plants a carob tree, and the carob trees are known to take years to come to maturity. Some of us really never even mature. So, you know, trees just take a little while, as do some people. But a passerby, of course, asked Honi, why are you bothering planting this tree? Because you're never going to eat the carob from it. And Honi was an old man, and he said, my grandfather and father planted trees for me. I am planting trees for my children and my grandchildren. In the redwood forest up in Northern California, there are a large community of trees that stretch hundreds of feet into the air. Some of them can grow to over 350 feet, and some of these trees are thousands of years old. It's amazing to behold the redwoods. But the most amazing thing about them is not so much their height or their longevity, but that their roots only go about 5 to 6 feet deep. Now, that would not seem like it would be deep enough to really hold a tree standing upright that would be that height or even that age. And how do they stand for thousands of years? Well, it's an amazing thing. You see, these redwood trees, their roots intertwine with one another, and sometimes they even fuse with other redwoods to create a network of powerful connections. This is why redwoods thrive in thick groves, and each tree is held firm by the strength of the entire community. And they intertwine and they grow in circular clusters. And this shows us that no redwood tree can grow tall without the support of the other trees. Our community is called Congregation Eitz Chaim, which translated means congregation that is a tree of life. And we too have a community of people who are like trees. Our roots fuse together and they strengthen one another as we grow strong and we stay together for many years. We are not a fly-by-night congregation, but rather a congregation that celebrates the joys, the sorrows, and celebrates life together. Tu B'Shvat is a new beginning for the trees that will be planted, for life, even living in this time of COVID, but for each of us, for the promise of the emerging spring when our energies will return and we can burst forth with leaves, with ideas, with thoughts, and with energy. And so the question is, what do you want to plant on this Tu B'Shvat? What seeds are you hoping will grow in your lives that will be nurtured by the community and the family and the roots that are intertwining with others? Shabbat Shalom. It is my pleasure to call to our bima, ceremonial bima, our officer representing the board of directors, Mimi Binet.
Can you hear me? Okay. Thank you, everyone, for coming to services. I am Mimi Paul Binet, and I represent the board of directors tonight. Thank you to the rabbis and the Environmental Action Committee for leading our service, to Leah, Sherin for your beautiful music, and congratulations on your rabbinical school starting. And finally, to Kyle Prinz for the guidance through the PowerPoint streaming services. Tourist study will be tomorrow at 9 a.m. Please join us this Sunday, January 24th at 1:30, where we will be celebrating Tu B'Shvat with a virtual lunch, including crepe making. Details can be found on the front of the website in addition to our weekly email. This Tuesday, as Rabbi Kozlowski's already mentioned, the 26th at 7:30, she will lead an online forum on the temple's strategic plan, which will showcase goals and benchmarks for how Congregation Etz Chaim will integrate into the future. You won't want to miss this. Purim, Purim, Purim. What's it going to be? Just a month away, and we shall see. Hard to believe, only a month away. Thank you all so much. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you. Shabbat Shalom. We continue now with our concluding prayers as I invite the congregation to please rise for our Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula leotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoyei haratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, vanachnu korim, umishtachavim umodim, Lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu shehu notei shamayim ve'oseh haaretz umoshav yikaro bashamayim mima'al ushchinatu zo begov hei meromim hu Eloheinu ein od emet malkeinu efes zuato Kakatuv betorato Vedat hayom v'hashavota el levavecha Ki Adonai hu ha'Elohim Bashamayim mimal ve'ol haaretz mitachat ein od L'taken olam b'malchut Shaddai V'nemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz Bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad Ushemo echad.
Everyone may be seated. Our thoughts now turn to those who are no longer with us. Tonight, as a community, we remember and honor the Yortzites of Harry Burstein, cousin of Scott Burstein, Ted Ellsberg, friend of Robert and Judith Stein, Lori Goldman, sister of Lynn Sullivan, Luna Leibowitz, stepsister of David Baruch, Barbara Ann Brower, aunt of Jennifer Brower, Philippe Chafek, father of Gregorio Chafek, Ida Leviton, grandmother of Wendy Peck and Deborah Cox, Larry Lipkin, husband of Judy Strauss Lipkin, Samuel Robinson, grandmother of Megan Utne, Bessie Schneider, aunt of Elaine Mekowitz and great-aunt of Rachel Wood, Sam Steinberg, great-uncle of Cynthia Swanson, Gerald Stoller, father of Scott Stoller, Celia Neymark, mother of Larry Neymark, Pearl Pfeiffer, mother of Howard Pfeffer, Norman Becker, father of Mark Becker, Oscar Klein, friend of Eitz Chaim, Kurt Solomon, father of Fred Solomon, Helene Bogelub, sister of Phil Bogelub, Cheryl Korevu, sister of Lisa Honig, Myrna Hurt, mother of Michael Hurt, Wendy Lax Ennis, sister of Robert Lax, Manuel Ostroff, father of Pacey Ostroff, Solomon Rubinson, father of Marlene Hirschander, Adele Bierman, grandmother of Deb Harris, Bernard Yellen, father of Gina Bogan and father-in-law of Wendy Yellen, Rose Myers-Burke, grandmother of Ellen Gossage, Marvin Cooperman, uncle of Howard Benario, Harriet Kaluzna, mother of Maureen Headington, Willard Myler, father of Cindy Michelasi, Diane Baruch, sister-in-law of David Baruch, Sherin Hirsch, sister of Daniel Hirsch, Ann Ross, mother of Paul Ross, Adele Bierman, mother of Marjorie Appel, Herschel Neal Lane, father of Bruce Lane, Leroy Liss, father of Judith Mindel and grandfather of Rachel Sebchik, Manu Patel, father of Anita Stoller, and Miriam Stein, mother of Harvey Stein. We also mourn the recent passing of Wendy Leinhart, wife of Parker Leinhart and mother of Bannister, Cooper, and Peyton Leinhart, Rosalie Spieger, aunt of Evan Katz, Anthony Ivanelli, father of Steve Ivanelli, and Florence Kesselman Slavic, mother of Lee Kesselman and friend of Eitz Chaim. We rise now in either body or spirit as we join together as one community for the mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ve'omad yivrach yortei v'yamlich malchutei, V'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael. V'agala b'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevarach le'olam u'mei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kudashah b'rechu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Damiran v'yoma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabba min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all of Israel, and to everyone in this world, to which we say, Amen. Everyone may be seated, and our closing song this evening is Eitz Chaim Hi. Let us go out to the Shabbat to joy, to rest, and to Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Elmhurst University. Thank you, Environmental Committee. May you all be blessed. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. I'm glad I was with all of you. Thank you.
We're glad you were here as well. Shabbat Shalom, Ellen.
Me too.
Good to have you here, Ellen. Come back.
Come again, Ellen.
Y'all come back now.
I'll
What,
work on
Hala?